From the Oklahoman Newsroom, I'm Jenny Carlson here with Barry Trammell. It's time for the Press Row, and we're brought to you by Papa John's Pizza. You can go online anytime and order your pizza at papajohns.com. We're going to start with our inbox segment, Barry. Questions from email answered here on video. Let's get right to it with a question from Craig. Craig says, I see Mark Cuban is trying to put a contender together. Oh, well.
Well, I mean, does he mean by signing Amari Stoudemire? Is that his idea of a contender? For crying out loud, Amari Stoudemire. This hit in 2005. So I think Darnell Mayberry made a good point, or maybe it's Anthony Slater. One said, we're in a culture of transactions. You don't have to do something well. Don't have to do something good. Don't have to do something smart. Just do something, and that satisfies the masses. The addition of Amari Stoudemire does not change the Mavericks in any fundamental way, and the Thunder should not go out and just make a deal just to be making a deal. I think the Thunder's got a better team than the Mavericks, even if the Mavericks have signed an all-star from the 2005 season.
The Amari Stoudemire signing, I mean, to me, that's more about the expiring contract than about some sort of impact that he's going to have on the Mavs. So Mark Cuban's long been known as a guy that likes to go out, who likes to make moves, who tries to just assemble the biggest collection of names and talent that he can and then see if it works. And lo and behold, it has on occasion, but it's not necessarily the way to build a consistent winner. They've had ups and downs and yet had a lot of salary on the books in some of those down years. So I don't necessarily think that the Mavs are suddenly a big-time contender in the West. No way about that. All right, let's go back to the inbox, and this one comes from Bruns. Bruns says, Sam Presti is the biggest bust in the Thunder organization. Allowing the beard to move on will haunt this team forever. Signing Perk to that long-term deal is a huge bust. The biggest bust in the NBA is Serge Barry. I'm going to start laughing here in a second. It's apparent that KD is not going to retire in Oklahoma City. Presti should, for once, earn his salary and make a deal to move KD for 3 or 4 first-round draft picks right now. Where do we start with Bruns?
Well, here's the deal. We included this busted all of our rules of proper emails way too long, but it is so rich and so fabulous we had to run it. This is, I mean, where do you start? But here's the deal. This is a valuable lesson for everyone. Limit what you say, because the more you talk, the more not. You can start off by saying Sam Presti's a bust, and you finish off by saying let's trade Kevin Durant. So it's just nonsensical on the surface.
Was this sent at like 3 or 4 in the morning? Was there any chance that somebody was in an addled state?
You're talking some inebriation, perhaps.
I don't know.
Here's all I'm going to say. I like to throw out obscure stats. So here's how big of a bust Sam Presti is. In the last 4 postseasons, the Spurs have won 9 playoff series. The Thunder has won 8 playoff series. Every other team in the Western Conference combined has won 12 playoff series. So, if Sam Presti is a bust, if Serge Ibaka is a bust, if Kendrick Perkins is no good, if it's time to just trade off Kevin Durant, what does that say about the other 13 teams in the Western Conference?
I hate when you back up these ideas with stats, Barry. It's out of control. Okay, here's what I would say. Is there are way more people in the Thunder organization that are worried about Sam Presti leaving for another organization than the bad job that Sam Presti has done. I mean, a lot of people will talk about the James Harden deal, but here's the honest truth. James Harden did not want to be here. He wanted to play somewhere else. He wanted to get a max contract. The Thunder could not do a max deal. They did not have it in their ability to give him what he got elsewhere. So if you want to be mad about that, I guess that's okay, but at some point you got to come to grips with the reality of that, and then the rest of this is just nonsense, Barry. Perk, Serge, come on. All right, and trading Kevin Durant, give me a break. All right, let's get back to the inbox from Richard. Richard says, if you were Sam Presti, more Sam Presti talk, and Pat Riley, would you make the following trade? Reggie Jackson and Kendrick Perkins for Luol Deng. Would you do it, Barry?
I don't think I'd do it, but man, I'd be tempted because I'm not interested in getting rid of Kendrick Perkins. I'm one of the forefathers of the Kendrick Perkins fan club, and frankly, it's a bandwagon that's gaining members the longer this season goes. But I sure do like Luol Deng. So they hit me at a soft spot. I would think about it. I love Luol Deng, a big wing who can score and also defend. He's getting a little old. He's not the player he once was. Neither is Kendrick Perkins, sad to say. But I'd think about it. I probably wouldn't, but I would think about it.
Yeah, I would too. And I think what you said about Luol Deng and his ability to defend, to be a two-way guy, that's really where this team has really not acquired a lot of two-way players. They may say they've got two-way players, but in reality they don't. They don't have many at all. Most of these guys are either defense or offense, and they kind of shirk it on the other end. So Luol Deng is a guy that can play on both ends and frankly will play on both ends. So I'm with you, Barry, though. Getting rid of Kendrick Perkins and you think about what they'd have left at the center position, defensive disposition they like to talk about. Is any other center really thinking about playing a bunch of defense? I don't know. That would be a sticking point for me. All right, one more time to the inbox. This one comes from TLH. He says, Steven Adams has probably never heard of Wally Pipp.
Well, of course, he's making the point that he gets hurt. Mitch McGary comes in, plays fabulous, those 2 straight double-doubles in really his NBA debut games. But then we saw him come back to life a little bit, come back to earth a little bit against Memphis. Not much against the Grizzlies' potent front line. So the answer is no, Steven Adams. I don't know if Steven Adams has heard of Lou Gehrig, much less Wally Pipp. Of course, Pipp got a headache one day, and Gehrig replaced him in the lineup and never came out. I think Adams is going back in. Yeah. I don't think Mitch McGary is going to take a lot of playing minutes away from Steven Adams.
Well, I think Steven Adams should be more worried about his playing time as it relates to Kendrick Perkins, a guy that's we're talking a lot about Kendrick, but his play this season has been fantastic. I think you mentioned it earlier. As the season's gone on, more and more people are taking a seat on the Kendrick Perkins bandwagon. They see his value to this team. So I think it's going to be interesting once Steven Adams gets back. How is that starting lineup playing? How is Kendrick Perkins playing? I assume that Steven Adams gets back his starting spot, but I think it's going to be an interesting question for Scott Brooks to answer. And who knows, maybe Kendrick Perkins' play will answer the question, and we'll sort of see how it goes. But I think Steven Adams' future is safe. I think he gets back in that Thunder rotation. Be sure to stay with the best coverage team anywhere at newsok.com and every day in the Oklahoman.